All right, we continue today's press conference. We have head coach Nick Cushing. If you have a question, please raise your hand. We'll get started with Juan Carlos.
Hi, Coach, and thank you for your time. Just wanted to ask you, what's been the focus now that you guys have been away for like a week? Did you change anything in training? Are you gonna like approach things differently now that you're gonna come back home? Thanks.
Um, I think the initial focus is rest and recovery. I think after a busy period and entering the bye week, it's a good opportunity to get rest in and to make sure those guys that played a lot of minutes recover really well. I'm really pleased with how the guys, we gave them a few days and they came back really fresh and really motivated. I think the next stage is to reflect and review. I say again, I said we will know the capability of this team when we return from 4 or 5 away games, and we've seen what we're capable of. So we have to look at why we played really well in some of the games and didn't win, why we, didn't get any points in some of those games we should have, and why we, show resilience and show a really good fight in the second half of Orlando. Many positives, many negatives, and of course, 4 losses and a draw is something that we want to put right, and we have an opportunity now. So training week's been really good. Mood is excellent in the group, and the motivation is there. 3 home games now, starting with a difficult one against Philadelphia to make sure that we put some points on the board.
Trey?
Hey, Coach, the 3-in-the-back system is something you only put in place once this season in the U.S. Open Cup match, but it's something you used a lot at the end of last year, including the Eastern Conference Final. I'm wondering, going against Philly, who is pretty situated in their own kind of play style and system, is that something you think about trotting out again? And what's your mindset going into this?
Well, they play 4-4-2 diamond, but in the last 2 games they played 3 in the back, so they're not so ingrained in their style. And we played them the year before, and they played almost a different shape to 4-4-2 diamond. I think teams will always evolve in their systems based on players they have available. And, we changed our system last year based on a lot of injuries, and it was really successful for us. I think ultimately I have 2 views on it. One, you have to have a team that understands the principles of how you play and the methods and the ideas that you want to, the identity that you want as a team. And within that, system plays a very small part of that. You can see, we've played the system this year, we played a system last year, we play very similar. I think for us, it's about how we become the best team that we can be, whether it's at the start of the game, bringing guys off the bench. You have to find the right balance. And 3 in the back is, I used it at Cincinnati. Will I use it again? Yeah, maybe we'll use it this weekend. It's a really effective system against 4-4-2 diamond. But like I say, they play 3 at the back the last 2 games, so who knows what they'll play.
Ronnie?
Hey, Coach. Hope you had a great week. Just wanted to ask, I know the main message has been from the players that everyone's united, and after these road games and going back to Citi Field now, do you feel like the players got this opportunity to mentally refresh a bit from the bye week? And what do you feel like the mentality is now going up against a top team in the East against the Philadelphia Union? Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. They had the opportunity to rest and reflect. And I think if I think it's physical and mental rest that we needed from a lot of focus, a lot of learning, a lot of listening, a lot of, trying to develop this team, the new team that we have along the way. The preseason was good. It was intense, a lot of games, some really good results, some results that we wanted to reflect on. Difficult, bringing players in week 1 of the season, week 2 of the season, week 3 of the season, didn't have the preseason. We're then, revisiting a lot of work with those guys. So, the opportunity to switch off mentally and of course physically, because of the run we had, has been, almost the perfect timing for us. I think I would have been worried if the players would have came back without still one eye on those results. because we have to look at them, we have to remember them, we have to, we can't just forget that we didn't get any points in 4 and then we fought for a point. But we also are not going to forget that we went on a really good run at home. So there are many areas we need to develop as a team. But I say again, we're a new team, we're a young team. The guys are working incredibly hard to develop in those areas. So it was a great opportunity to switch off, but for sure we'll switch back on now.
In the room, Scott.
Hey, Coach, thanks for the time. I appreciate it. Jumping ahead in time a little bit, talk a little bit about maybe some of the up-and-comers that are on the second squad, Nico Benalcazar and any of those, and any of those players you think might be coming up with the pipeline in the next few months.
Yeah, I think naturally in our league, it is a squad game. And we've seen that last year with the likes of Kevin O'Toole and Justin Hack. Those guys, Nico Benalcazar, Justin Hack, Andres Yassin's been used a little bit. Stephen Turnbull, Matt Freese, all the guys in there that haven't played as much football as they would like are training really hard, really pushing to get into the team. And, Tony Alfaro, another one. I think my message is always to those guys. Since I've been here, I've seen it change so quickly, and you have to be ready. And the guys that are ready will be the guys that take their opportunity. Kevin O'Toole is a great example. You spent 9 months on the side, don't play any minutes, and then you roll 10 games, 10 wins, a Campeones Cup final, a conference final. Things can change really quickly. And in our league, you have to make sure that you're ready. But I've been really pleased with their attitude, their application, their willingness to improve and learn. They've been really, really good assets for this squad up to now.
Oliver?
Hi, thank you. You just called this a new team, a young team. There's been a bit of a debate on Twitter about this. Would you characterize this as a year of a rebuild or a retool? Are you retooling or rebuilding?
You have to put some context around the retooling.
I guess retooling means kind of swapping out players, and rebuilding means restructuring the entire team.
I think irrelevant of what rebuilding or retooling means. My expectation hasn't changed. The aims and the goals of the team haven't changed. There is no way I can go into that locker room and say, listen, guys, we've changed out a few players and we're a little bit younger than we were. So this year we're happy to maybe finish 9th and play the playing game. And there's not the focus of the team. And they would kill me if I went in and said it to them. The guys are super motivated, super hungry, and incredibly frustrated when we don't get points. But I also think we have to be realistic. The most pleasing part is with a new team, and with changing the age profile of the group, we have to rebuild the culture, the resilience, the maturity of the team. We have to really build the chemistry and the cohesion of the guys. We have to make sure that those guys that had leaders above them, the Keaton Parks, the James Sands, those guys that had Alex Cairns, Maxi Morales above them, they now have to step up. So we have to put more expectation on them whilst they concentrate on their performance. A goalkeeper that was a number 2 that is now a number 1, that also has a guy really chomping on his heels that wants to be number 1 behind him. Guys are having to put an incredible amount in to make sure that we retain performance level. And of course, we're always going to have opinions of whether we play well, whether we play bad, whether we play the right way, the wrong way. I get it. I'm really pleased with where we're at. I think I still want players to improve in certain areas, and those guys know that. I think we have, as a team, have to really improve. Whether it's a rebuild or a retool, the fact is it's a new team. There's a lot of guys with a lot of minutes and a lot of years in them not here, and a lot of guys with not so many minutes and not so many years in this team in it. The pleasing thing is they're incredibly committed. They are working incredibly hard to give our football club exactly what we expect, and that is a team that plays good football, that attacks the game well, that creates goal chances and scores and wins football games, and ultimately fights for trophies. The work level is that of one that wants to continue exactly what we've done in the past 2 or 3 years. And my expectation and my goals haven't changed. I say again, but I do think we've got to be realistic in the sense of how quickly and at what level we can put expectations. A good example is Luis Barraza is playing really, really well, and is exceeding all expectations. But it's unfair to put the expectation level that we had on Sean Johnson on Luis Barraza.
Roberto?
Coach, it's been 8 days since the tie that you guys got in Orlando. Now that you had a week maybe to process it, can you tell me what your thoughts are about not only the fact that you guys tied it in the last minute, that you got a point on the road, but the way the team finished the game, and then the fact that everybody got together afterwards at midfield and spoke about it? What are your thoughts about that now that you've had decompressed basically from the situation after it happened?
Yeah, I mean, I was frustrated in the moment that we started the game slowly. But again, and with reflection, it was really hot there. It was 3 days out from a really tough derby game, a game, that has a lot of emotion in. So I was disappointed in the moment that we started slowly, but now, I've reflected on that. I'm really pleased with the fight. The halftime was a definite step for our group in the way that they communicated to each other, in the way that they held each other responsible for different areas of our game. The reaction to those conversations that are no different. We've had those conversations in this locker room, those really intense conversations, the conversations that winning teams have between each other, the expectation level that they put on each other. We've had them previously. We've just had them with different guys. Asking guys to step up, like Maxime Chanot, like James Sands, like Thiago Martins, those real Keaton Parks, those real leaders in the group, but also asking the younger guys, the guys that are new to our group, and to really get a foothold in the game and really show, why we feel they are important guys. And the reaction in the second half was pleasing. I thought we were the only team carrying the game. We were really pushing. And then to see the likes of Gabe Siegel come onto the pitch, Andres Yassin came onto the pitch, the guys that haven't had so much football, and really push the level to another level physically and mentally, it is really pleasing. And then at the end, without my doing so, the fact that the guys wanted to really embrace that, wanted to do it in the earliest possible moment. It was pure emotion. It was pure frustration, I think, in previous results. And I think we're making steps. We are. But Saturday will tell whether we're making steps, because, we don't want to, and we've said this a lot, we don't want to make steps backwards. We want to make steps forwards. Of course, we want to make huge steps forwards, and we want to make them really quickly. But for sure, we don't want to make a step backwards.
Michael Andre?
Nick, you've used the descriptor maturity quite a bit when talking about this team. How often does maturity come into play when you're choosing your 18 and your starting 11?
Of course, it different games. I consider different reasons for different games. I think every head coach does. I think maturity is always one, because you have to have a team that can cope with whatever will be thrown at them. I think we have to, make sure that we're not a one-dimensional team, and that we can't just play when we have the ball and we have to dominate the possession and we get goal chances. Sometimes the games are messy in our league. Sometimes teams put you under pressure. Sometimes teams ask you to solve problems that you weren't prepared for because of the nature of the game. Of course, I will always think of the threat of the opposition and how we want to be. I think every coach will always look at the maturity of the team. When you've got a lot of young guys, you have to make sure that you have leaders within the field. And most of the time you're picking leaders because of their experience, the amount of games they've played, the knowledge that they have. And, I did that last year, and I will do that again this year.
And final one, Trey.
Hey, Coach, the one position that's had the most perhaps rotation this season is right back. And I'm wondering what goes into deciding between these two young, promising talents with Tavon Gray and Micha Elenic. What are your thought processes game in and game out?
One's a really good defender and one's a really good attacker. Both have to develop areas of their game. And if they can develop the area of their game that that will take them to the next level, then we'll have a really, really, really quality fullback on our hands. I think Tavon is excellent. I think Mitra is excellent. Both guys are working incredibly hard. But our league, the margins are so small in our league that you have to look at the threat versus the opportunity that you have, and you have to judge where you're at and who you're playing against and where you're playing. There's many, many different factors that we have to consider.
Great. Thank you, everyone.